Tonight on DC News Now, a husband charged with double murder in Reston, Virginia.
The detectives, the prosecutors have worked meticulously to ensure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted, but the work still goes on.
The new details from police about his relationship with the family's live-in nanny, who's also facing charges in the case. The D.C. Council set to meet for the first time since Tryon White's arrest.
The voters elected him, and the only way to stop that is to expel him.
What the council could potentially do as there are intensifying calls for White to step down.
Hey friends, we are headed for some changes. I have rain back in the forecast. We'll time it out coming up.
A new stop and frisk report showing the racial disparities from D.C. police.
They're going around and they're just randomly choosing black people. I mean, that's wrong.
The community calling for action. We'll break down the data. Taking frozen desserts to another level in Prince George's County, Maryland. How a black business owner is combining organic and plant-based ingredients to make a dairy-free sweet treat.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for DC News Now at 9. I'm Susan Tran. Chris Flanagan has the night off, and we're going to start in Virginia tonight, where a Fairfax County man is charged with murder in the death of his wife and another man that happened back in February of 2023. Police arresting Brendan Banfield just months after investigators also charged the family's live-in nanny with murder. DC News Now's Max Marcilla has the latest on this case that made national headlines.
For the last 570 days, police believe Brendan Banfield was living in the same Reston home where his wife and another man were killed. Now he's behind bars after this high-interest case took its latest turn. On Monday, Brendan Banfield cuffed and put into a cop car, now indicted on 4 counts of aggravated murder connected to the double homicide that happened at his home in February of 2023. This comes several months after the family's au pair, Juliana Perez Magalhaes, was charged with murder herself.
I hope that the family, friends, and loved ones of Christine and Joseph can find some solace in the knowledge that we're pursuing justice for them.
On that day, Banfield told police someone stabbed his wife, so he shot him.
I had a feeling that there was a lot more to what met the eye that morning.
What police now believe is that Banfield and the family's au pair were in a romantic relationship. A photo of them together on a nightstand in October was presented as evidence in court. The prosecutor's belief is Joseph Ryan was lured to the Banfield home by a fetish website page for Brendan's wife, Christine. It's unclear who set up that page. When Ryan arrived at the home, he was shot and Christine was stabbed. Magalhaes is charged in Ryan's murder, while Banfield is charged in both killings.
It's digital evidence, it's physical evidence, it's forensics evidence, it's circumstantial evidence. The detectives, the prosecutors have worked meticulously to ensure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted, but the work still goes on.
Police and prosecutors are being tight-lipped about what new information they learned leading to Brendan Banfield's indictment, opting to keep those details close to the vest to better their chances of a guilty verdict.
This isn't over. We're not spiking the football. We're not celebrating.
Banfield is expected to be arraigned as early as Tuesday, while Magalhaes has her trial set for November. Reporting in Fairfax, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
Now in the district, the family of a man police shot and killed on Labor Day weekend is asking the Justice Department to investigate. Over that weekend, Justin Robinson crashed his car at the McDonald's drive-thru. Then police shot him at least 10 times, saying there was a gun in his car and he reached for an officer's gun. Coming up at 9:30, we're going to hear from his family, who say the body cam video shows something different. In Virginia, a judge has set a trial date for the husband of missing Mansses Park mom, Mamta Kafli-Bott. The trial date for Naresh Bott is now December 9th. He's charged with concealing a body, even though there's been no sign of Mamta since her disappearance in late July. Naresh Bott's defense team, they have asked for more evidence to be turned over, including transcripts of the conversations that he had with police. Meanwhile, supporters for Mamta, they spoke after today's hearing.
Naresh had compassion in his heart. He could maybe take some accountability, and then we wouldn't be standing here so frustrated up against a speedy trial clock. We're going to keep showing up and standing up. We want elevated charges. We want murder one.
Naresh Bott has another hearing on November 20th before the trial is set to start. Happening tomorrow, the D.C. Council is set to meet for the very first time since council member Tryon White was arrested and charged with bribery. White was accused of accepting $150,000 in bribes, all in exchange for his influence on city contracts. He pleaded not guilty last week. D.C. News Now's Marielle Carbone is live outside for us there at the Wilson Building tonight. And Marielle, is White expected to be at the meeting tomorrow?
Well, Susan, by all accounts, yes, but in what capacity and what his role will be on council is unclear and could change. This is people both inside and outside of city government are calling for change. As Councilmember Tryon White maintains his innocence, his council colleagues are left debating a path forward.
The voters elected him, and the only way to stop that is to expel him.
That's not happening yet, but it could. Council returns from summer break Tuesday, meeting for the first time since White was arrested last month. He's accused of agreeing to accept $156,000 in bribes in exchange for his influence in contracts dealing with city violence interruption programs.
I do not have indication of how much he intends to participate.
Still, his role on the council could be reduced.
The person is presumed innocent until proven beyond a reasonable doubt, but we are moving forward with the disciplinary process.
Council will vote to dissolve the Committee on Recreation, Library, and Youth Affairs, which White chairs, and establish two subcommittees instead, chaired by council members Zachary Parker and Matt Fruman. Plus, an ad hoc committee will meet for the first time Tuesday morning, investigating White with the help of outside counsel. As that happens, a new push from outside City Hall. D.C.'s police union calling for the district to stop funding all violence interruption programs until it does an audit on their actions. Chairman Greg Pemberton saying in a statement, the council must freeze wasteful spending on unproven shady programs now. There is no science-based metric or data that justifies the spending of millions of dollars on these programs. And we did reach out to some violence interruption programs to get their thoughts on that call from the police union. We didn't hear back from any. Susan, tomorrow full council has their first meeting at 11 a.m. That ad hoc committee meets at 9 a.m. Reporting live from the Wilson Building tonight, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
To Marielle, thank you so much. Let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Janessa Webb, and that stretch, maybe of 2 weeks of sunshine, is kind of in the past for us now.
Yeah, coming to an end, and now we are tracking rain that's coming in from North and South Carolina. It has tropical characteristics. Not going to be a named storm, but known as a cyclone, and that is eventually going to make its way into the DMV. It's 73 right now. We're sitting under mostly cloudy skies. Definitely a cooler night with all the cloud coverage to keep us insulated across the entire region, and that is the first noticeable change. Really, as this system continues to push on shore, it is going to race into areas of central Virginia. Mostly it's North Carolina right now, from Fayetteville, parts of Raleigh-Durham, High Point, Greensboro area that are dealing with severe weather and flash flooding, and so that entire system is going to kind of veer to the west and really impact areas of northern Virginia going into tomorrow afternoon and then extending into your Wednesday. Temperatures as a whole, folks, it's starting to feel a lot like fall. We are officially 5 days away. We kind of switch into a different season on Sunday. Coastal flood advisories, they'll stay in place until tomorrow evening around 10 o'clock, and that's due to high tide cycles. So overnight, really, we continue to be into the lower 60s as you're kicking off your day. We don't have the early morning commute that's going to be in jeopardy. It's your evening commute. We'll time out that rain season coming up.
All right, Janessa, thank you. A fight, a gunfire, and then a short chase in Maryland. Police in Charles County are now investigating this deadly shooting. It all happened this afternoon in Waldorf. They say the man was shot in an apartment complex during this argument with two people who then took off in a box truck. Police say there was a short chase, then officers arrested the two. And a massive fire from a recycling plant in Durwood, Maryland today. Just take a look at these flames and the black smoke that was seen billowing into the air. Firefighters say it was at the Shady Grove transfer station right there on Frederick Road. It happened around noon. Crews, they were able to get that fire under control quite quickly, and no one was hurt. A new poll shows the vast majority of parents in Virginia actually approve of banning cell phones at schools. The new Washington Post survey shows that 2/3 of parents, they agree to keeping kids off their phones during school hours. Now, we spoke with a child psychiatrist who says the less time that students are spending on social media or on their phones will actually have a lot of benefits in the long run.
Media shows people how great other people's lives are, right? And maybe when children are having problems in their lives, they're seeing that their friends are having wonderful pictures on Instagram or Facebook or whatever the kids are using now, and that makes them feel awful.
The Department of Education is testing out some pilot programs and is set to release the final guidelines by January 1st. And staying in Virginia, happening tomorrow, the Loudoun County School Board is hosting a town hall to talk about school names. The board is considering changing the names that are connected to the Confederacy. They're going to be considering Francis Hazel Reed Elementary School and Mercer Middle School. But tomorrow's session in Leesburg will be just about Reed Elementary, and that meeting starts at 7. Also looking ahead, there could be a new skate park rolling into Northern Virginia. Fairfax County's Park Authority is hosting a meeting to talk about these plans for Mount Vernon Woods Park there in Alexandria. During the virtual meeting, a concept plan for the skate park will be presented, and officials are going to be asking for your feedback on what this park could feature. Take a look at the layout. The meeting is set to happen on September 26th at 7. A revised design plan is expected later this fall, and construction on the skate park is set to start next fall.